It is so hot right now. I am sitting here without the fan. Am I gonna melt? Yes, but it's fine. Hi guys, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Shreya. I'm 23 years old and I live in Bangalore. Back in 2025, I decided that I wanted to launch my own clothing brand that focused on creating essentials for women that are made to last. I wanted to create clothing that you could wear every day, clothes that were durable, felt good, and just fit really snug. I think a lot of women right now have been having a hard time finding really good fitting, comfortable clothes that are not made by fast fashion brands. It was also really important to me that all of these clothes could be used for a variety of purposes. So whether you want to wear them to work or whether you want to wear them to the gym or to lounge around the house in, I wanted to make sure that these clothes could just be worn in multiple different ways, and it completely depends on the user's choice. And so began my journey of building my clothing brand, and I'm so excited because I get to share this journey with everyone here. So whether we already know each other or we're meeting for the first time, I'm so excited to have you here. For the past 12 months, we have covered everything from finding a manufacturer to create the garments, to sourcing the fabrics, sourcing the trims for the fabrics, creating the patterns, designing the website, doing everything. Like, we have been on it. I've been figuring out how to do everything, and I'm so excited that I get to share this journey with you. Without further ado, I'm going to explain what kind of fabrics that I initially wanted to use for the business. And you see this really nice, soft, stretchy fabric. These are what we call knitted fabrics, and I knew that I wanted to use knitted fabrics for my brand because one, they're super comfortable, and two, most importantly, they stretch. So if you're going to stretch, they're going to stretch with you. And these fabrics are just so soft, so comfortable, but I had to run through maybe more than like 30 to 40 different fabrics in order to find the exact fabric that I ended up using for my business. And over the next few vlogs, I'm going to be showing you guys how I sourced the fabric and how I decided which fabric I wanted to use. And while we're on the topic of finding fabric manufacturers and sourcing fabrics, the whole journey, including finding a manufacturer, has been pretty challenging, and let me tell you why. Something that you might not know if you're interested in starting a clothing brand but you don't know where to start. Something that you might not know is that a lot of manufacturers have something called an MOQ. An MOQ basically means minimum order quantity. So that is the minimum number of garments that a manufacturer requires you to order before they can approve production for your garment. And starting off small, I know a lot of small clothing businesses don't want to start with like 10,000 garments. You're probably going to be starting with like 100 or 200 garments, or maybe even less than. And so it's really important to find a manufacturer who's willing to do low MOQs. But it's also really hard because the lower number of MOQs that you order is the more expensive that your total production cost is going to be. So it did take me a while to find a manufacturer who really understood the kind of garments that I wanted to make and who agreed to work with a lower MOQ. Honestly, that R&D took up a lot of time and a wee bit of travel, I'm not gonna lie. But it's okay because we got that done, and that was the most difficult thing that we got out of the way. So another thing that took up a lot of time was creating the patterns for the garments. So for anyone who's confused about what a pattern is, don't worry, I'm gonna get to that in a second. But finding a pattern maker who was able to understand what kind of patterns I really wanted for this brand and the clothes did take me quite a bit of time. But again, we did find a pattern maker who eventually understood what we were going for. So once we developed the patterns, I was able to take the patterns, go to the manufacturer, drop them off along with the fabrics, and then they created the samples. I'm going to get into all of the stages that we went through a little bit more in detail over the next few videos. I'm going to quickly head down to the studio and show you guys what a pattern is and what is the purpose of a pattern, how do we use a pattern, and why do we need patterns. Also, when we talk about pattern making, this is where I bring in my dress form, my beautiful dress form. It's really beneficial if you can get your hands on a dress form, because a dress form will provide you standard size measurements that you can use to create your patterns and also test your samples on. I have a size 8, and that is an industry standard medium. Well, it fluctuates between a small to a medium. So this is the dress form that I always use to test all my samples on, and it's super helpful. So if you are planning to start your own business, or if you're looking into creating and designing your own clothes, it is really beneficial if you can get your hands on a dress form. Alright, without further ado, I'm going to take you guys downstairs and then walk you through what a pattern is. I mean, look at the amount of fabric that I have. This is just a little bit of the fabric that I've used so far for sampling. Yeah, we've consumed a lot of fabric, it's crazy. So talking about like storage solutions, I have no space. I have no idea where to be storing all of my fabrics. I'm running out of space. And whenever I open the studio, I always have 100 bajillion things to carry with me. First of all, I need to apologize. In case you hear any traffic, it is literally impossible to escape Bangalore traffic sounds. No matter where you go, you could go to the most noise-proof room and there's still going to be traffic. So I apologize. If you can hear traffic in the background, please ignore it. The most important things that we need before we make the garment is a pattern. Let me show you guys an example of a pattern. I've genuinely run through like so many pattern drafts. So I'm going to take one of them out and show you guys what a pattern looks like. Yeah, sure, so okay, so what I'm holding in my hands now is a paper pattern. Paper pattern basically acts as a stencil for the fabric before you cut it out. You lay this flat on the fabric and then you trace it and you cut it out. And that's how you cut out parts of your garment. You use a paper pattern. And fear not, I do have the other pieces. We've got the front and the back. Similar to the front and back bodice, we've also got the sleeves and the collar. And some of the sizes that I'm holding here right now are a medium, and then we've got the front and the back for a large. This really depends on your brand's sizing and what sizes you want to offer. We're starting from extra small and going to large, and obviously sizing is something that's super important to me, so it's something that I'm going to be looking for when it comes to feedback, and to obviously expand sizing, because I think women in general struggle so much to find clothes that fit well. So it's really important to me that we can try to make this brand as size inclusive as possible. But because we're starting small, we're going from extra small to large, and we are going to continuously keep trying to improve that and size up and down as much as we can. Okay, now that we got that out of the way, and I think I've yapped enough about the whole process of finding a pattern maker and getting all of these patterns made, I'm going to talk you guys through a few of the difficulties that I had, how we overcame them, and what our next steps are going to look like. Let me just bring you down to my height real quick. Oh, no, okay, that's too short. I need to fix this. Okay. Yeah, okay, we're good. Okay, so some of the issues that I had while finding a pattern maker is the first pattern maker that I ended up working with didn't work out for me. And I think he was a really skilled pattern maker. He was really good at what he did, but he just didn't have much experience when it came to knitwear, and knitwear is the only thing that I need right now. So there was a bit of a communication gap there, and it did take me some time to find another pattern maker who I ended up working really well with and who I'm working with right now. So we're able to collaborate really well, and all of the patterns, I think it took us only 2 rounds of sampling, and then we were able to get the perfect patterns out. So I'm really satisfied and very happy there. But this is definitely a sign that the first people that you start working with may not always be the people that you're going to continue working with long term, and that's totally okay. That's a lesson that I learned early on. But yeah, that was the first phase of the journey that I just wanted to share with you all before we get into everything else. And I'm so excited because I'm going to be launching a series of studio vlogs from now on. Right from setting up the studio that's there in the background, I get to show you guys that in a couple of videos and talk you guys through all the different fabrics that I've chosen and why I chose those fabrics. And yeah, I'm just really eager to share everything, all the aspects of this journey. So if you are interested, please feel free to hit the subscribe button. I'm going to try to push out weekly vlogs so that you guys can also be just as involved in setting up a brand. If you're interested in starting your own clothing brand, I hope that this can help you in any way, or if you're a little bit afraid and you don't know where to start, hopefully this can give you some inspiration. But yeah, feel free to hit the like and subscribe button. See you guys next vlog. Bye!